Hi everyone, I'm Amy Gillespie from Irigenics, and I'm welcoming you to Embracing Your Journey in Phoenix, January 27th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And let's just take a peek at their flyer. Here we are, Holistic Wellness and Metaphysical Event, January 27th. This is brought on by Embracing Your Journey, a fabulous organization that puts on beautiful, beautiful expos in Phoenix. And this is going to be at the Point Hilton Squaw Peak Resort at 7677 North 16th Street. And what I'd like to do is give you a brief introduction to Irigenics and what it's kind of all about and what it's like to get an ancestral eye reading. So I'm going to do a little video slide here. First, I do want to point out that I do have heterochromia. I have a blue eye and I have a brown, and my brown is blue on the top, as you can see here, but most people don't see when I'm talking, so I don't have real big, wide open eyes. But I'm going to show you what it's like. So like even if I come really close to the camera here, you can only see so much of my eye, just like when you look in the bathroom mirror, the mirror in your bedroom, and try to see your eye up close. So I'm going to show you what it's like to get a photograph of your eye and some of the amazing information we can interpret from that. So here we go. All right. So this is our little slide presentation here. And let's go up to the top. This is my blue eye. Now you see there's all this amazing detail in here. And every part of your eye tells something about you. We could spend a whole day reading this eye if we wanted. But some of the things we're going to be taking a look at when we do your ancestral eye reading is first, what's the structure of your eye? These components were there when you were 3 days old, including these kind of light scratch marks that run around the edge here that you may or may not see that well. They look a little bit like terracing, and that's a ring of achievement. That means that I have a motivator, of kind of an internal guilt motivator that says I have to, I need to, I'm supposed to, I should. I've got this constant to-do list in my mind. It's a pretty common ring in the eyes. There's actually 4. So we'll be looking at your structure. We'll be looking at the actual rings in your eyes in any of the Irigenics ancestral eye readings. And then anytime that you combine moisture and light and a curved surface, you can end up with images, just like a rainbow, right? But here you can see there's a number of impressions, energetic impressions and images of individuals actually in my eye. And this picture was actually taken back in about 2012. And I actually, until I started really doing the ancestral aspect of eye reading, I trained on 4 different methods since 2010 when I first got back from Africa. And they all just seemed like there was something more that I was supposed to bring to it. Like there was just some other piece that was missing. And this ancestral aspect, including the imagery that shows up often in the eyes, was really the part of it that has really come home to me. You know, when we do your ancestral eye reading and we take the pictures of your eyes, it's almost as if your ancestors have waited your whole life for this moment to meet you, for you to meet them. I mean, sometimes the images are so clear and they're in period clothing. I've seen legionnaires. I've seen women doing the Charleston. I've seen trapeze artists where they're like swinging one of the members, you know, from the trapeze. There's just all kinds of amazing things that show up when we do the pictures. Now, this photo has not been altered. This light was brought from the side. I like to side light because I like to see the depth of the markings. Because in a flat image, you definitely would not see how much is going on up here. And this is the area of oppression by the church, oppression by the cultural ideals of the time. This is where if you had an ancestor burned at the stake for being a witch, it would be up here. Whereas a gift for writing at 6 days, within a week of birth, is down here at the bottom. In the left eye, it's stories. In the right eye, it's technical writing. But let's go to that next picture. And here I circled a few of the images just to kind of point out that they were in here, and they've been in here this whole time. And this is part of what we would read in a mini-me eye reading or in the My Eye Mag, as well as on Eye Time. So this is my brown. You can really see the blue at the top now. This is because you can almost kind of see, I did crop these pictures, but you can see I was lifting my eyelid to make sure we got the whole eye in the picture. And this is a reflection of that eyelid lift right there. So it's not really, it's a reflection, like any reflection, but it's not really an ancestral image necessarily. Whereas you will see some ancestral images here, and in brown eyes, they show up a little bit differently. So it's kind of handy that I happen to have a blue and a brown, so I can show you both examples with one person's eyes. This gal was Asian. She had very, very dark eyes, and she told me she had contacts in, and I said, this is what it will happen when you have contacts in. You'll see the edge of the contact. It wasn't clearly square on her eye or round on her eye, but I asked her if they were etching contacts now, because this image almost of an angel showed up, and she said no, it was actually her grandmother with a baby tied on back after her husband had died, taking the child up with the ashes to the family residence up in the mountains. And here you see the bun in her hair and her haircut, as well as her blue, whether you want to call it a gown or whatever outfit that she was wearing in that time. This gal, I really enjoyed this picture because she's got this long braid down her, the back of her. She's very fine features, you know, that size 2, size 3 Southern Belle with the real slim waist and the broader skirt. But also you've got images here and here, as well as over here. And so sometimes when we make the pictures, the reason I do My Eye Mags in digital is so that you can zoom in and out. Because sometimes when you zoom in, which is why I cropped this so small. Let's see if I can do that. Sometimes they'll pixelate out, and sometimes they'll actually become more clear as you take them up or down in size. And so that's part of why I do all my things digitally, so that you can get a closer look at them. You can print them. I've had pretty good luck with staples, but sometimes, especially if you're brown eyes, they print super dark. And then you're like, wow, I just paid to print this, and I had a much clearer image when it was actually online. Here, I probably went a little bit too close on these, making them less clear. But you see here, there's a blonde woman. There's a gentleman here in like a jacket or trench coat, along with maybe a woman here and here and here. And again, these aren't, these photos haven't been touched up at all. These are just images that show up in the eyes. But for me, when I'm taking these photos, I will oftentimes see the people moving around as your pupil dilates and contracts and expands. And I'll see these energetic impressions moving to try to get in the picture. It's like, no, get me, get me. And so it's like, I just quick snap that photo to capture, you know, whoever's there in the moment. But I do usually take at least 2 pictures of each eye. This gentleman had actual letters in his eye. It was RY1 or R41. His name was not Ryan, but he did say he was in military, and he was not real surprised to see the those particular letters or whatever. They meant something to him, and I didn't really go further in asking. So I look forward to taking your close-up macro photo of your eyes at Embracing Your Journey in Phoenix on January 27th. I do want to go through with you quickly. The options are going to be, there's 3 kinds of readings that you can book when you go to one of the shows. I don't read live at the shows simply because they're so loud. They're loud energetically, they're noisy. So what I do now is I take your photos at the show. I may show you 2, 3, 4 different things in your eyes that I'm noticing. Then what I'll do is I will get the mini-me dedicated video. If that's what you order, I'll have it to you within the week, or 10 days at the most, like a week from the weekend. And it's $50 show special. And it's about 30 minutes, and it's going to be me going through all the highlights of your eye. And it's a ton of information. So you're going to receive this video that you can download. It's just like getting a YouTube like this video. And you'll get that, and it'll be yours to keep and hang on to forever. There's also what's called Eye Time. We would book that at the show, where we would get together on either Zoom or free conference call, and we would spend an hour going through your eyes together, and again in a video that's yours to keep. That way you can go back to it over and over again. And again, mainly because we go through so much information so quickly. And your third option is the My iMag. And let me see if I can grab that here on my screen. I hope I didn't just kill it, which I might have. No, I didn't. Here we go. The My iMag is a 36 page printed report. Let me go up to the top of this, of you and your eyes and your ancestors. This is a really detailed report. This one here is actually a sample. I just took a number of different people's eyes and filled in each of the areas to the format. And this is how to use the mag. And what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot of tools in here for accessing your ancestors, for reading the information. Again, it's something that you can go back to over and over. It comes to you in PDF so that if you want to take it to Office Depot, Office Max, your favorite printer to print it, you can, but you've at least got the digital copy with the high resolution images so that you can zoom in and zoom out and increase and decrease images to take a look. So starting off with talking about what's in the two different eyes and kind of the legend. We're going to look at your structure, your ancestors. We're going to look at if you have rings. This person has the ring of compassion, meaning they're very, they have an affinity for the arts and the artistic. They have an affinity for expression, for interpreting information, and they can feel other people physically. As you can see as we go through, I could spend days reading people's eyes, going through, just one person's eye, the images. Now, this is my blue eye again. This is in a flat image. Now, you see how little you see in those markings up there because it's flat, because the light was not brought from the side. Now you can't see the depth of the markings, which again, for me, it tells me a lot about how many generations an indication has been around, or a gift or a skill, or even an unresolved trauma. This is the Maverick. They're here to change everything. Here's the Perfectionist. They have a power up mode where in silence they gain power. This is a performer, someone who can be a chameleon. They can change into a million different aspects. And again, even from here, you can see the images in this eye. And what's interesting is this was a Romanian orphan. Originally, she was an orphan from Romania. She was actually in her 20s, I think, when I took this picture. But I was able to just show her so much of the ancestral packaging, what she was loaded with at birth, and then what changed as she met her life stories, day by day, year by year. So this talks about your structure in a little bit more close up, especially about you, and hear more about your ancestors. What are your inherent gifts? What's your best career, your best life? What issues did your ancestors have that weren't resolved that are probably showing up in your life? Here is kind of more specific to your ancestors and where they struggled. And you'll see below, I'm going to come to larger photos like this where I put the pictures into black and white. Sometimes the imagery pops a little bit more in black and white than it does in color. Who were you born to become? What were you born with? What did your life add to you? Where do you go with it now? What's your operating system? How do you interact with others? And then a close-up on your eyes. Here's your right eye, and what are some of the details specific to what I'm seeing in your right? What's in your left eye, and what are some of the details of what I'm specifically seeing? And obviously, if this person has markings in every part of their eye, they came to have a very varietal life. They have a lot of chapters. They're like that Forrest Gump. These were my shrimp boat captain years. These were my Vietnam years. These were my mowing the grass at the university years. These people have a lot of compartments in their lives. So again, you can see how sometimes the black and white will bring images up more. It'll bring things out in a way that's almost like that sepia photograph. Some people have a little trouble seeing images. Other people, they just jump at them. And so that's just an aid to kind of help them along. About the pictures, why? So this is the same eye using side lighting, using an iPhone, and using flat lighting. And so I wanted to kind of show, here's the difference in the quality, not the quality, but the depth of the image, because me being able to get in and see that depth tells me so much about the ancestral struggles as well as gifts. And this just talks a little bit about, how DNA threads. Some people have freckles. Other people have these open fiber separations. That's what this talks about. And then the rings. And then I go into more skills. These are the rings and a little bit, here's those scratch marks again in a brown eye, which is the ring of achievement. This talks a little bit more specifically about what the aspects of you say. This is about your time in utero with mom, how that portrays in your eyes, and the in utero time with dad, his experience of your mom's pregnancy with you. As you see in my brown eye, it is a lit, not a lit, but it's a blue spot in my brown eye as well, or more blue, depending on what kind of lighting I've used to light up my eye. And then from here, there's a number of skills and gifts. This is from Colorado Springs Hypnotherapy from Barbara Stafford. She has a guest article in here about perspective and working with your ancestral patterns. Then we go into breathing exercises, especially for people with really, really brown eyes with the velvety tribal texture. What to do when you have hairball, what to do with different markings in your eyes. There's different kinds of sensitive, different kinds of psychic, if you will, different kinds of being intuitive. And it talks about all 6 different kinds and how those aspects show up in your life, as well as how to work with them. Here's a story of a repeat eye pattern, an ancestral pattern, and how that plays out. And then these are the different marks that can be in your eyes in detail. Again, here's those channels like we saw that are actually the ones we saw at the top of my blue eye. These are the ancestral postage stamps, the 12 o'clock markings, the cross fibers that sometimes show up in eyes. And then how to read your own eye, how to read your eye, or to, look at your friend's eyes or your family members, and how do others compare. So what are the different structures? What are you and what you're not? What's the one that's the most opposite to you, which is probably your best relationship, your best boyfriend or girlfriend. And then a little bit of just a tiny highlight on each of the patterns, and a little bit of bio about me and the eye reading, and then a final kind of synopsis of you along with your eye photo on the back. And so that's a sneak peek at my iMag. It will be on special at Embracing Your Journey. It'll be on special for $100. And they take me about 3 weeks to complete, but I would expect these will be turning around more like 2 weeks. But I'll let you know at the show when we're actually doing the order. So again, I'm so excited to meet you at Embracing Your Journey in Phoenix, January 27th from 9 to 5. And I hope you've enjoyed this little sneak peek of what to expect from Irigenics Ancestral Eye Readings. Thank you so much. Again, my name's Amy. If you want to reach out ahead of time, you can reach me at irigenics.com. Contact me, or you can reach me at irigenics@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and I'll see you the 27th.